Improving shoulder external rotation after a stroke is a topic that you all ask about a lot in the comments. So today I am here to deliver some answers. External shoulder rotation is often impacted due to two reasons. One is weakness, and the second is spasticity. Our shoulder has 4 rotator cuff muscles, 3 external rotators and 1 internal rotator, the subscapularis. But here's the catch. That internal rotator, the subscapularis, is larger and stronger than the external rotators. So when we have weakness, it is more likely that that larger, stronger muscle is going to take over. Secondly, spasticity often occurs in that subscapularis, the internal rotator cuff muscle. So when you're having that tight muscle tone and constant contraction, it's almost impossible for those weaker external rotator cuff muscles to fight back. So what can we do to improve external rotation after a stroke? Well, I like to use a blended method that includes stretching, weight bearing, strengthening, and functional activities. It's imperative that we do include the stretching and weight bearing component to address spasticity and not just strengthening alone. So let's get into how you can apply this in your own home recovery program. I recommend starting with some gentle, prolonged stretching. And while everyone's situation is a little bit different, when I say prolonged stretching, I mean around 2 to 3 sets of about 15 seconds each. So some of you may be able to tolerate that, some of you may not. Start with where you are and what you're able to do. So I'm gonna go through a few different stretches. The first one is a doorway stretch. You're going to have your arm with your elbow in 90 degrees of flexion if you can. You're gonna put your hand and wrist on one side of the doorway, and then you're going to move your body away so that you're getting a nice stretch up through your arm and into shoulder external rotation. You want this to feel like a nice, gentle, soft stretch. You shouldn't be fighting against the wall because this is meant to be stretching, not strengthening. Letting the doorway do the work for you. Holding here, and of course, don't push through pain. If you start getting sharp pain, back off and relax. All right, the second stretch I'm gonna show you is a corner stretch. And this is using any corner that you have in your house. Don't need any equipment for this one. Your arms are gonna come up to the side with your elbows bent, and you're gonna step forward into the stretch, and you should be feeling a stretch across the front part of your shoulder. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you this one. Arms up to the side. You can keep them down lower, that's okay. You're gonna lean forward into the stretch and feel that stretch across the front part of your shoulder. And like I mentioned, you can hold that for around 15 seconds if you're able to do so, as long as you're not pushing through any pain, especially sharp pain. Now, I know some of you may not be able to get into that position, so let's go into the next couple of stretches that might be a little easier. The third stretch I have for you is a seated external rotation stretch, and we're specifically using a dressing stick today, but if you have a long umbrella, a long cane, a long shoehorn, whatever you have that's long enough to get some leverage is gonna be good. Now, you can either hold on to the end if you have enough grip, or hold on to the top. If you don't have enough grip in your hand, you can ace wrap your hand on. And what you're gonna do is keep your elbow in at your side, bent at 90 degrees, and gently you're gonna push your forearm out to the side, trying to keep your elbow in. You're gonna hold there. Like I said, same rules apply here, prolonged stretching, so 15 seconds or so, and then bring it back in. Now, of course, if this does flare up any sharp pain, back off immediately and relax. But otherwise, you should get a nice soft stretch in the front of your shoulder and the external rotators. The last stretch I'm gonna cover is a lying external rotation stretch. Now we also get a little extra bang for our buck with this one because we're also going to be stretching out your arm into abduction, or bringing the arm away from the body. And that movement is also often impacted, and it goes along with issues with external rotation. So you're going to grab, again, your dressing stick, your cane, your umbrella, whatever you have. If you're not able to grip on, get some of that ace wrap and wrap your hand on so you don't lose grip. And what you're gonna do is bring your arm out to the side. Using your unaffected arm, you're gonna raise and help push that arm back down towards the table. And then you're just gonna hold in that position for 15 seconds if you can tolerate it. Remembering again to not push through any pain, especially sharp pain that starts coming up. And then you just bring it back up. And as with all the other stretches, repeat 2 to 3 times as you can tolerate. Now let's move on to the 2 weight-bearing positions that you can try to improve external rotation of the shoulder. So you will need a solid, stable surface to be sitting on. And what you're gonna do is your elbow is gonna be bent. You're gonna come over onto your affected arm. You are weight bearing down through your elbow and your forearm. Now here's where the external rotation comes into play. If you're able to move that forearm out to the side a little bit, you should be feeling more of a stretch on the front of your shoulder with that movement. If you have a little more movement, which you may or may not, because this is what we're working on, you can bring that forearm all the way out to the side, and you're gently gonna lean over and weight bear down through your elbow and your forearm. However, if you have a little bit more movement, we're going to try a little bit more complex weight bearing position. So you're gonna take your affected arm, it's gonna go behind you. You can either put your palm flat or hang on to the surface. I'm gonna show you with my palm flat, and you're gonna lean back. Now, if you need to put your unaffected hand down too for some stability, please do that. If you feel like you're unsteady or off balance, have someone with you during these exercises. And then gently, you're gonna shift your weight down through your affected arm, stabilizing with your unaffected side if you need to. And you should be getting a nice stretch all the way up through your arm and through the front of your shoulder. And then you just hold there, like with the stretches, for 15 seconds if you can. Repeat 2 to 3 times. All right, now that we have covered stretching and weight-bearing strategies to prepare those muscles and to reduce some spasticity, we're gonna get into some strengthening exercises, because that's an important piece of this as well. Now you'll notice I am wearing some cuff weights here, and I like cuff weights because they don't require you to hold on to anything. However, you may find that you don't need any extra resistance. Gravity may be enough resistance for you. So the first exercise I want to show you for strengthening is an isometric external rotation hold. I have 3 different modifications for this exercise, so I'm going to start with the easiest, which is your arms are going to come down by your side, your elbows are going to be flexed or bent, and then your forearms are going to come out to your side, keeping your elbows tucked in here. So this is the position you need to be in. This is the easiest position. With all of these exercises, hold for around 15 seconds and then relax, never pushing through pain. So this is the first way you can do this isometric hold. The second way is to lift your arms up to around 45 degrees. You're holding here, and then if you are up for more of a challenge, you can bring your arms all the way up to 90 degrees. Just holding, even without any weights, this is going to be hard. It is tough to hold your arms up against gravity. So you're gonna get some nice strengthening of the external rotator cuff muscles, even without doing any specific push and pull exercising. Now for the second external rotation strengthening exercise, we are going to use some of that muscle contraction and lengthening. So Using your cuff weights, dumbbells if you can hang on to it, or no weights at all, your arms are gonna come down by your side, and you are going to move your arms in towards your tummy and then out to the side. Now, you may find that it's easier to do this one arm at a time, especially if you're really focusing on your affected side. Don't forget about your unaffected side though. So if you can do them together, great. If you need a little more focus, just work on your affected side at first and then swap over to the other side. So you're moving arm in towards your tummy, out to the side, elbow is staying in at your side, so we are actually targeting the external rotator cuff muscles. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more of a challenge with this exercise, you can actually get into a side lying position. And laying on your side here, you can bring your arm down and then push it up. Now this may be a little bit harder because you are actually working to push up against gravity. Gravity is really fighting you on this one, but figure out which one is going to be best for you and start where you are. All right, this last strengthening exercise for the external rotation of our shoulders is by far the most challenging. You can start off without using any weights at all. I'm keeping my cuff weights on for this one, or you can use dumbbells if you've progressed to that point. But what you're going to do is get in that same position that we were in for that isometric hold modification, which is where we were just holding our arms upright, not moving. But with this exercise, we are going to be moving. Your palms are going to be facing forward. And then you're going to bring your arms down and then raise them back up. Down, raise them back up. You want to try to make sure that your elbows are bent at 90 degrees. You have a nice right angle here. Now this is a tough one. Like I said, this is by far the most challenging strengthening exercise. So if you're not there yet, or you need to take off the weights for that one, that is a-okay. You may not have the movement for that one yet. So start off with some of the isometric holds. You can start off with the exercises down here. Figure out which strengthening exercise is going to be best for you. Start there and work your way up. And the last strategy in this blended method to improve external shoulder rotation is to focus on functional day-to-day activities. We know that 2 neuroplasticity principles are salience, doing things that are important and meaningful to us, and 2, using it to improve it. So if we can find ways to use it to improve it, or focus on important and meaningful things to us that also work on external rotation, our brain is more likely to make those neuroplastic changes, which is what we're looking for in stroke recovery. So here are some examples of what you can do around the house to work on your external rotation. Take a comb or a brush and brush the back of your head. If you don't have a whole lot of hair, you can just take your hand and try to scratch the back of your head. If you're laying down in bed or laying down on the couch or in a recliner, practice bringing your hands up and under your head while you relax. You can also practice throwing a ball, an apple, or an orange, whatever you have around the house. Now you'd be doing this in an overhanded way so that you're actually focusing on that external rotation. If you don't quite have a grip and release, that's okay. Just practice the movement without actually throwing something. And last but not least, practice like you're putting on a seat belt. That movement to reach up and get it is actually external rotation. And if you're also getting in a car going somewhere, practice that a couple extra times so that you get a good workout. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what are some exercises, activities, or other treatments like Botox that have helped your shoulder external rotation. And as always, I'm leaving a link down in the description if you'd like to sign up for the email list, which gets you free stroke recovery tips and motivational emails, as well as a free copy of my ebook, The Stroke Recovery Pocket Guide. And if you find value in what we do and you're able, please consider donating to Post Stroke, either via our PayPal for a one-time or monthly donation, or become one of our Patreon members to get cool perks. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.